welcome back to Susan Dawn Spiritual Connections. Welcome to a new Sacred Union Energy update. Okay, so unexpectedly, I was not doing any channelings over the weekend, over the past couple of days. Number one, it was because I was working, I was spending time with family, but also I just didn't feel like it. And interestingly enough, like I really didn't feel like doing any of these Sacred Union updates. Things feel quiet. They feel kind of peaceful. It feels just relaxed. And I think, to be completely honest with myself and with you guys, I've been a little bit scared to kind of look into what's going on, because I don't know if I want to look into what's going on. My own journey has been painful in the past, and I've done so much healing around that for myself that it's almost like, okay, let's just let's just leave it alone. I don't want to know what's going on with counterparts. I don't want to know what's going on with the Divine Masculine. I just kind of want to be in my little bubble. But, you know, that's not where the healing happens. Healing happens when you allow yourself to face your fears. Healing happens when you allow yourself to face your triggers. Healing happens when you allow yourself the opportunity for that growth. And so these readings help me as much as they help all of you, because it shows me my inner masculine, or it shows me what's going on with the masculine collective, or it shows me, you know, what I had experienced in the past with my masculine counterpart, so that I can continue to heal and move forward, so that I can continue to grow. And it also shows me myself as the feminine energy. It shows me what's happening with regards to union energies, because no matter what is going on within connection for me, I believe in union. I believe in sacred union. I don't believe I would have come on this path. I don't believe I would have been guided to this path. Not because I wanted to, but because I was guided to. I was led here. I don't believe I would have been guided here without experiencing that for myself, or without purpose. So I do believe in sacred union. I do believe in sacred partnership. I do believe in just love. I believe in love. And I think because there had been so much pain in connection in the past, it's been, you know, a little bit scary to open up to that possibility again. It's been a little bit scary to open up to possibility of either reconnecting with past counterpart or with meeting somebody new. Either way, I don't know which path is open to myself. My path is just continuing to unfold, and I'm surrendered to it, and I'm allowing it. And I feel a lot of peace at that, in not needing to know which path it is, because I've become so connected with myself that I know whichever path it is, number one, I'll know, but number two, I'll feel it energetically, and I know that it'll be right for me, whichever path that is. But there's a lot tied into the ego with that. There's a lot that is, you know, my ego still likes to be, you know, well, you were hurt in the past, or, well, you believed this so deeply in the past that how can you continue to believe it, or how can you believe again? And that's where, you know, I have to tell my ego to shut up a little bit. That's where I have to allow my soul to take over and just say, you know what? You know, I might not be able to believe right now. I might not be able to see everything so clearly right now when it comes to my own journey, but that's where I have faith, and that's where I'm surrendered, and that's where my peace comes in. So I haven't really been wanting to do these readings, just because there's a lot for me tied into them, and as much as I want to know, I don't want to know. But again, this is my job. This is what I signed up for. And I know that it does nobody any good to avoid it, especially myself. So we're going to look at the Divine Masculine today, the Divine Feminine, and the Union energies, and see what is going on when it comes to these sacred partnerships. Now, another thing that's been happening is we have Venus in retrograde. This has been pivotal, extremely significant, extremely profound, especially considering all the other cosmic support, as I like to call it, all the other astrological events. The North and South nodes shifted into Aries and Libra. We've had new moons, full moons, super moons, Mercury's going retrograde. I think a couple of other planets are going retrograde. The outer planets are going retrograde. It's big. It's big. But especially Venus. Venus is the energy of love, relationships, also money, but money is an energy, right? Money is just a relationship that you have. And the more you have that relationship with yourself, the better your relationship with money. Money is just an energy. It's just an energy exchange. So it's all about how do you relate. And when we talk about connections, when we talk about relationships, it's important to understand that we have connections with everything in this world. You have a connection with your family, with your friends, with your pets. You have a connection and relationship with your job. You have a relationship with money. You have a relationship with your car. You have a relationship with your machines. You have relationships. It's not the way of relationship that we usually think of relationship. It's how do you relate? How do you have that energy exchange? What is the output and what is the input? That is the energy exchange. And so you in essence have a connection or a relationship with everything. Now, when we're talking about relationship, we're talking about intimacy. We're talking about a deep-seated soul connection. We're talking about actually intimately connecting with and relating to others. But on the whole, you do have connections with or you relate in some way energetically to everything, because everything is energy. So with Venus going retrograde, it has given us an opportunity to look at how do we relate to the things in our lives, including relationships with people, especially relationships with people, including relationships with our significant others and with family members. For myself, family has been a really important piece of this retrograde. I do want to say too that everybody's going to be experiencing retrograde, this Venus retrograde, in a different way. For some, it might feel really challenging, and that's if you have been avoiding intimacy with yourself or with others. That's if you had been shutting down in connections or pushing connections away. This retrograde is going to really show you that. It's really gonna have you step up within yourself and kind of face yourself. If you have been doing that work, if you have been getting to know yourself deeper, connecting with yourself deeper, doing the healing, doing the shadow work, then this Venus retrograde feels really warm. And I don't have another word for it. For what I'm feeling myself, there's a warmth that is tied to this. And yes, there is healing, and yes, there's purging that's coming along with it, but it also feels very supportive. And so again, it's all about a shift in perspective or a shift in energy and consciousness. It's all about how you view it. And if you're in resistance, then it's going to create the struggle, because that resistance is what creates the struggle. But if you're surrendered to that and allow yourself the opportunity to continue to grow and to continue to heal and continue to kind of face what needs to be faced, then it's going to feel that supportive energy. For myself, I have, interestingly enough, I've been doing somatic work. I've been doing so much work on my own wellness and health, and that includes my emotional health as well as my physical health. And what's interesting is when I met with my naturopath for the first time last year, I explained to her that I had really worked on my emotional well-being and health and clearing traumas and stuff like that, and that now I was really ready to work on my physical health. And she said, you know what? That's really encouraging and smart, because the physical health comes after the emotional health. It's actually really tied. That's what holistics really is. It's tied together. And she said, now that you have worked so much on your emotional health, it's going to make your physical health a lot better. And through this past year, I have overcome another relapse in Lyme disease. My health is getting better. My wellness is getting better. And I meet with a physical trainer once a week, and I'm getting stronger. I can just see the difference. And a lot of that is because of I feel emotionally stronger within myself. And so I'm doing a lot of somatics, and what that is it's clearing out more of the emotions and the trauma that's trapped within the physical body. And what's been coming up is a lot of stuff within the past relationships. Interestingly enough, as soon as Venus retrograde hit, I had a dream and was releasing first love energy. Um, my first love, who had treated me very, very well, but we were just not compatible. A lot of that energy I was releasing my connection over the past couple of weeks with my counterpart, the person that had been catalyzed and activated to this ascension journey with. I've been clearing a lot of residual energy and pain from that we experienced within that connection, and kind of returning back to the love, which is scary for me because this whole journey I believed in that love, and it's scary for me because there's also been a lot of pain. But I've been working on that as well. And the most interesting thing for me is family. And my connection, especially with my parents, is being more nurtured. And there's some stuff there that has been healing and deepening and clearing. And that has taken a surprising, beautiful turn. So you might resonate with that. I share my experiences just because you might resonate with them because I'm called to. But you might resonate with that. Take it as it resonates for you. You know, you're going to experience Venus retrograde in whatever way it resonates for you. But it feels like there's a lot of subconscious clearing that's coming up to the surface. And I actually, it's interesting. I want to just read this. Yeah, I made a note on Saturday because I had a dream that I was sitting down at my desk and doing a reading. And I was like, does this mean that I have to get up now and do a reading? Because I really don't want to. But it was interesting because in the reading, I can't remember what exactly the reading was. I know it was a Sacred Union reading, but I talked about how October is going to be big, life transforming, and I don't quite know why or how. We might explore that in a future reading. But October feels extremely significant when it comes to sacred unions, when it comes to your own inner union, when it comes to your own embodiment, when it comes to sacred partnership. It's all tied together somehow. And we'll explore that later. But I also made a note that Venus retrograde is pulling out all the subconscious healing, everything that you love. I also dreamed about my old house, the house that I had just sold and moved from, that I was in for 12 years. That was my sanctuary. That was my home. And it felt like I was back in that house, and it felt very strange because I was a new person. I was who I am now, and it didn't match who I was then living in that house. So it was very strange. It's this Venus retrograde is that re-energy. It's revisiting, revising, reflecting. It's all the old stuff that's coming up to the surface to be looked at, to be acknowledged, to be healed, to be cleared. It is not coming up to the surface as a punishment. It is not coming up to the surface to keep you stagnant, to keep you stuck. Anything that triggers you, anything that comes up to the surface is meant as an opportunity for greater healing, for greater depth. It's really important to understand and to remember. And so that's where you can either allow yourself to keep resistant and kind of get yourself stuck, or you can allow yourself to surrender and allow yourself to grow and evolve through it, to work through it. It's because the more that you work through it, the more that you release it. And so all the subconscious stuff is coming up to the surface to be looked at, to be felt. The amount of times that I have cried over the past couple of weeks, I cannot say. But it also feels very peaceful. And there's also been a lot of joy and a lot of fun and a lot of rest and a lot of solitude and Zen moments within the self. It almost feels a little bit convoluted, but it's just because there's so much that is happening right now for that transformation, and it's like, allow yourself to transform. Okay, so now let's get into the Divine Masculine, Divine Feminine, and the Sacred Union energies. I will put my own ego aside, my own fears and doubts aside, my own guardedness aside. We'll open our hearts and we will see what wants to come through. Spirit, what do we need to know for the Divine Masculine right now? Let's see what's going on for the Divine Masculine, the current energy for the Divine Masculine. Current energy for the Divine Masculine. What do we need to know? working on some inner child healing right now. I feel like we're going to pause here and just channel for the Divine Masculine. I feel as if the Divine Masculine might be in a little bit of a void. They might be in a little bit of a, it doesn't quite feel like a dark night of the soul. It feels more like a void. It feels like they're in their own bubble too. Remember when I talked about that? It feels like quiet. It feels peaceful. It feels like I'm in like my own little bubble. That's what it feels like for the Divine Masculine as well. And that's why there might be some detachment. There might be some lack of energy or lack of communication that's being experienced at this moment. It could have started occurring over the past couple of days. I feel like this new moon is going to really have the Divine Masculines coming out of that bubble. I was going to say in their feelings, because we have some Cancer energy that's coming through. We have some depth of emotion that's coming through. But I feel like the new moon energy is going to have them coming out of that. I'm seeing the line in my mind, and it feels like that Leo energy is going to come just kind of roaring straight in. It feels like more courage, more strength, more confidence. It feels like the bubble that they've been in, the void that they've been in, they've been going deep within themselves, looking at themselves, looking at their shadows, maybe even nurturing themselves in a subconscious way or an unconscious way. And what I mean by that is, it's almost like what I'm seeing is them perhaps unconsciously or subconsciously nurturing their own inner child. This could be done in a number of different ways. This could be doing something like a hobby that they loved as a child. This could be eating their favorite foods, that like their favorite comfort foods. This could be spending more time with children, playing, that kind of thing. But I feel like it's more subconscious. This is all healing energy, but it feels more subconscious. It feels like they are actively doing this, physically doing this, and it feels like this is real healing energy for their inner child. They're giving, I'm seeing the reparenting card from another deck, and it's like they're reparenting themselves and giving to themselves what they needed at the time that they were a child. It says, listen to the voice within. And I feel like they are listening to what they needed when they were younger. Maybe it was love, maybe it was affection, maybe it was attention, maybe it was structure, maybe it was stability, maybe it was freedom and liberation. Whatever it was that they needed as a child, it's like they're learning to give to themselves, or they're tuning into themselves, and beginning to really repair the relationship. It feels like there has been a strong disconnect within the self, and it's like they learn to live with that disconnect within the self. And remember, getting to know yourself, that is the point of this ascension journey. It's coming home to yourself in all aspects of yourself. And throughout our life experiences as humans, we become very fragmented, very fractured. And this is not just this physical lifetime, but across many lifetimes. We become very, very fractured from ourselves, disconnected from ourselves. And part of this journey, coming home to ourselves, is reconnecting. It's the energy of separation and union within the self. Remember, separation is an illusion. It's when we become separate from ourselves that we disconnect, that we lose sight of ourselves, that we lose ourselves, essentially. And the union is that reconnection. I'm going to point you guys to the Healing and Harmony video here on my channel called Separation. That's what we're healing on this ascension journey. That's essentially what we are doing, is we are healing the separation energy. I'm going to link a couple of readings in the description box that I really encourage you guys to check out. And if you have checked it out, maybe check it out again, because this energy feels extremely powerful for this point in time. The healing of the separation, to reunite with that unity consciousness, to reunite with that unity, that union with the self, and uniting with that unity consciousness with others, connecting with others. And I just did a soul path reading that reflects on that as well, so I encourage you guys to check that out as well. It's all interconnected. That was the theme of the soul path reading, how everything is interconnected. And there's a lot of messages for those of you who are on the sacred union path of ascension there. That the sacred union path of ascension is not just for the sake of your relationship, but it is for the sake of the ascension of the planet as a whole. Everything is interconnected. What you're doing on your own individual ascension journey affects the whole, just like the whole affects you. So really important messages there. I'm going to leave it at that. But back to the divine masculine, it feels like, and remember, this is not just about your masculine partner or your inner masculine. This is the masculine presence, the masculine energy on this planet as well, that is shifting in consciousness, that is rising into a healthy, conscious, sacred masculine energy. We had been so much in distorted energies, and as we are coming back into this path of ascension, we are recognizing divinity and sacredness. And so for both of you, divine masculines and divine feminines, you've been going through this ascension journey to heal that within yourself, to heal the wounded aspects of yourself, the distorted aspects of yourself, to recognize in conscious being the sacredness. And so this is for the whole as well. So this masculine has been healing some fragmented aspects of themselves, some disconnect with themselves. They had disconnected. Maybe they disconnected from their joy. Maybe they disconnected from their passions, from their hobbies, from their dreams. Better to shut down than to be hurt is what I'm hearing. Better to close myself off and avoid what it is that I truly love, rather than to be hurt by it, to be hurt by disappointment, to be hurt by failure, to be hurt by judgment, to be hurt by expectation. This is a very pained and wounded masculine energy that in the past, particularly in childhood, it's like they shut down that part of themselves that wanted to express their joy, their passions, their hobbies themselves. So this is reconnecting back to the inner child. And I feel I'm getting the Venus retrograde energy. I feel like the Venus retrograde is kind of returning that to them, which is a very interesting turn of phrase. I'm also getting drawn to the numbers. We have the 4 and the 6 here pointing to a 10 number, and that is the cycle of completion. There's a huge karmic cycle of completion. I'm seeing the number 19, and I'm not so sure of the astrology, but it feels like a 19 cycle is completing. Something about the number 19, something about a 19 cycle is completing. So 19 years, 19 months. Doesn't feel like days. It feels longer than that. It feels like 19, like it feels like a long stretch of time. Something that maybe began 19 years ago, or something significant 19 years ago, or maybe even 19 months ago, is completing. And it's like what I'm seeing is one door is closing, and right now it feels like they're in between. They're in this like vestibule, in this corridor. So one door has closed. The other door is kind of inching open, but it's like it's not fully open. The door is open. It's like unlocked. But they're kind of standing in this vestibule in between two doors right now. So they might feel like they're in a little bit of an in-between state. Again, there's this void that's happening here. So it's almost like it's a little bit open, and I feel like they're peeking through. There's a sense of curiosity that's coming through from this divine masculine. Like, what's on the other side of this door? It's almost like there's a little bit of a desire to kind of go back and open the other door, open the past. There's still a little bit of attachment to the past. That could be a relationship, that could be a job, that could be a past version of themselves, maybe a pattern or habit, an addiction, a way of doing something that they're very used to. There's a comfort about the past for them, that it's almost like they do want to kind of open that door, but I'm seeing them kind of shaking the door handle, and it's locked. It's like they can't go back, and they know they can't go back, and they can pound on the door and try to unlock it and try to jimmy it and all sorts of things, but that's the resistance, and that's only going to prolong the suffering. And I'm getting this energy of divine Father God coming through, very nurturing, very caring, trying to guide the divine masculine towards the new door, towards the other door in front of them, trying to guide them to, this was your path, is what I'm hearing. This has always been your path. You got a little bit off track, you got a little bit out of alignment, and that's where the suffering took place. That's where so many unwanted or unpleasant experiences kept happening, is because you were out of alignment, but you kept resisting the change. You kept resisting where God is saying, where God was trying to guide you, where the universe was trying to guide you. And so I'm just seeing this loving, like, father figure energy kind of taking the divine masculine by the shoulders, metaphorically of course, and trying to guide him in the direction. And it's like on the other side I'm just seeing like rainbows, but he can't see it yet. The divine masculine can't see it yet, but it's like everything that he's ever wanted, truly, when he allowed himself to want, when he allowed himself to dream, is there, and it's always been there. And the door is open. It's like open a crack. he can kind of peek through it, and that's where I'm getting a sense of curiosity. Like, he is very curious, and he does want what's on the other side of it, and he wants to go towards it, but there has been so much fear and maybe even so much trauma and so much resistance to that, because that's going to take a leap of faith. That's going to take some guided action. That's going to take a different step than what they had been doing previously. And the step is not so much a physical one, although yes, but first energetically. It's going to mean shifting energetically, allowing themselves to see differently, new perspectives, allowing themselves to shift in maybe what they were feeling, to open themselves up in new ways, to express themselves in new ways. It's going to be a new way of being. This is a higher frequency, higher consciousness, and a higher level version of themselves. But I feel like they have been stuck so much in one version of themselves, and that kept repeating. And it's almost like because they were in that energy, life kept repeating. Maybe different people, maybe different circumstances, but the energy was the same. It was repeating and repeating and repeating. And they could see that. It's almost like the universe was smacking them in the face of, oh, okay, this is a different person, but it's the same energy. Oh, this is a different situation, but it's the same energy. And it shifts within the self first. And so the more that they let go of that resistance and allowing themselves to surrender and course correct, and there's always the opportunity for course correction, the moment that they make that conscious choice to kind of turn away from the door and kind of leave it where it was and turn towards the other door, the more that they gather up that courage that really exists within them as a part of them. That courage is a part of them. It's a part of the Divine Masculine warrior template. The moment that they gather up that courage and say out loud, I want more. I want more for my life. I want new. I want to be fully me. I want to embrace my life. I want to embrace my energy. I want to embrace my heart. The more that they allow themselves to say that, and in whatever way or words that they say that, to make that conscious choice, that door just swings wide open. This is the healing that they're doing right now. They're just kind of in that in-between. Okay, it felt extremely powerful. My eyes closed the entire time as I was channeling that, so now it feels, everything feels very bright. Everything feels very bright. And that feels like a metaphor for the Divine Masculine too. Like eyes closed, right? Resistance. But then once you open your eyes, it's like everything feels bright. And it's almost like the light feels so blinding that you want to put on your sunglasses, or you want to hide away from it. You want to like put your hoodie up over your head and just kind of hide away from it because the light feels so blinding. But that light is who you are. It's just reflecting back who you are. It's just you've been in the darkness for so long that you didn't recognize it. And so it's like, allow yourself to see with new sight. Allow yourself to see not with your physical eyes, but with your heart. It's a beautiful energy for the Divine Masculine. It feels like a lot of growth, and it feels like a lot of maturity. It feels like there's a blossoming that's happening. And I'm getting that the blossoming is happening first within the heart space, and that they can feel this. They can feel something opening up within their heart. I feel like a lot of the guardedness and maybe even the defensiveness is gone. They're seeing things with new perspective. There's a lot of illumination that's coming through, and that's been coming through over the past couple of months. A lot of illumination. Divine Feminines. What's going on for the Divine Feminines? What's going on for the Divine Feminines? Just realized you guys can't see that. There you go. All right, Divine Feminines. We're going to have an extended over on the Patreon to look at how is the Divine Masculine, Divine Feminine feeling about each other and the connection, and some guidance. We might ask a couple of other questions. We'll see how deep we want to go tonight. But do make sure that if you would like the extended readings or mini readings that are exclusive to the Patreon, that you are joining. We also, for the higher tier, we do a live stream every month. If you would like to try it out, make sure that you are joining the Patreon this month in August, because you get all of August, and then in September I'm actually freezing the billing cycle. That means that if you are a member, a Patreon subscriber now, then you won't have to pay for September. The reason is, number one, it's my birthday. It's a big one. a big number. And number 2, we have the book release, and there's a lot going on in September for myself. So I'm not sure how much I'm going to be able to do as far as collective channelings. But if I do, it'll be mostly over on the Patreon, so you guys can make sure that you have everything that you need. I think things will also be public on the Patreon. I'm going to see what I want to do. But at the very least, September will be a freebie. So if you subscribe to the Patreon, you get access to all of the past readings, including pick-a piles, exclusive readings, bonus readings, etc. Plus, you'll have the freebie for September. And for maybe September and definitely for October, I'm going to be open to readings only for Patreon subscribers. Because again, I have a lot going on. It's going to be a very busy 2 months. So I'm only going to be open to personal readings for Patreon subscribers. That's just going to allow me to kind of limit the amount of work that I have in order to balance out everything that's going on. So let's continue. For the Divine Feminines, take time out. Some time alone is needed. I did mention that it feels very much like there's a lot going on for the Divine Feminines. Like there's a lot going on internally. And you might be wanting some solace. You might be wanting some solitude. You might be wanting some time out to yourself. The void for the Divine Masculines doesn't quite feel the same for the Divine Feminines. Although the Divine Feminines might be in a little bit of a void too. That's that kind of bubble that we were talking about. So the Divine Feminines might be feeling that as well. Only it doesn't feel quite like the Divine Masculines. For the Divine Feminines, it feels more like, again, it just feels like this warmth energy. It feels very supportive of her healing, very supportive of the clearing out of old energy. And I feel like she might just be experiencing some solitude. She might be spending a lot of time resting. Yeah, health. She might be spending a lot of time resting. She might be spending a lot of time looking after herself, taking care of herself, taking care of her health, her wellness. And that could include emotional well-being as well. For some, you might be napping a lot. For others, you might just find yourself kind of zoning out with books or with movies and things like that. But remember, the things that you're drawn to is for a purpose as well. There are messages in books and in movies that you're drawn to that might help you understand what you're going through or heal something. Nothing is without purpose, especially when you are consciously on this ascension journey. The music you listen to, the books that you read, the movies that you watch, it's all for a purpose. And if you look back at your journey, you might recognize, oh, I was called to this movie at a certain time, and that actually helped me see this in a different perspective. Or this helped me feel my emotions around this and helped me heal this. So it's all for a divine purpose. So I do see you, I do see this kind of zened out energy is what I'm getting. It's like a bubble. But there's healing that's happening within that as well. It's just more of a self-nurturing kind of energy. And I'm getting this energy of Divine Feminines. It is not selfish to take care of yourself, especially if you had sacrificed yourself or had neglected yourself for so long. It might feel selfish because you're not used to it, to have those boundaries and say, no, I need some alone time, no, I need some me time, or no, I just don't feel like communicating, or no, I don't feel like participating in this event today. It's not selfish. It's not selfish for you to put yourself first and to prioritize yourself. And I feel like for the Divine Feminines, for so long, you had prioritized others. For so long, you had put yourself aside for the sake of others. Maybe this was family, maybe this was your connection, maybe this was another relationship or friends or your work. You put everything aside, and now it's like you are taking your time for yourself. And just look at how peaceful she feels and seems. She's just enjoying herself, enjoying the moment, being very present with herself in nature. I feel like this is you really connecting to your roots, really connecting to your soul, really connecting to your core. This is time, it says, yeah, time to look after yourself. This is time where you are nurturing yourself and where it's like you are putting yourself first. You're not neglecting yourself or abandoning yourself. This is you really taking that time for yourself. Okay, that feels complete, so let's see what's going on for the union energies between the two. What's going on for the union energies between the two? What's going on for the union energies between the two? We have morning affirmations. Have an attitude of gratitude. There is a... I'm going to use a couple of adjectives here. There is a quiet energy coming between you two. But the quiet doesn't mean silence. The quiet means more peaceful. It's like there's a more peaceful energy that is blossoming here. If there had been a lot of friction, tension, maybe arguments, maybe miscommunication, if there had been any resentment or pain between the two of you, there's a peace that is over that is coming over this connection. And that's what I mean by quiet. It's like any of that real tempestuous, is that a word? Tempestuous? That's what I'm getting. Any of that kind of fiery energy that was between you two, there's a healing that's happening. And that healing is like a settling peace that's coming over the connection. I feel like I'm seeing you both seeing each other with new eyes. As you grow, as you expand, as you shift, you're naturally going to see things differently. It's when we're stuck that we continue in the same old cycles and we see things from the same old landscape and perspective and lens. There's a widening perspective that's happening. You're seeing why things happen the way they did. And there's an energy of gratitude that's coming in for the experiences that you had, for the connection itself. And I feel like that gratitude is creating a new foundation here. All right, I'm going to channel more about this because I want to understand this. Tell me more about this union energy. My ego is like, please don't. Yeah, okay, I'm going to talk about this for a second. My own ego, I can feel it. As I'm channeling, what happens is it's like my ego takes a step back and I open my mouth and I like everything comes up. Like I feel it from the very core of my being. I feel the energy. It's like a beam of light streaming down through my crown chakra, and it's also rising from within me. So it's like meeting within the heart, and it spills out through my mouth, and I just channel. And because I'm clairsentient, so I feel things. So I feel the energy of it, and I articulate that energy and kind of translate that energy. But I'm not a trance channeler, and that my consciousness is completely gone. I can feel it in the back, only it doesn't take hold. It's not the one that's speaking. So there's still some inklings of doubt in the back of my mind. There's still some inklings of, no, that can't be true, or no, I don't want that to be true, or oh, I'm scared. That's my ego, but that's not what is at the forefront. That's not what's speaking true. And when you learn to connect with your soul self, with your higher self, with the universe, with God's source, you experience that more and more in your everyday life, where it's like soul takes over and ego quiets, right? And you just kind of you're just kind of channeling all the time because you're embodying your higher self. It becomes very natural and very organic. So I say that because I can still feel that energy of like my ego trying to protect me, trying to self-sabotage, because I'm to be honest, like with you guys, like I'm a little bit scared to open my heart again because it had been so painful in the past. And over this past year, as I've been shifting and growing and healing, I've been opening my heart and opening my heart and opening my heart to this past connection with this person again, and wanting that to heal, whatever way that looks, wanting that to heal either with him or just to heal as a whole, wanting that. And it feels like I just keep getting kind of kicked in the ass. It feels like I just keep getting knocked down every time I open my heart. And what's interesting about that is I know I'm meant to open my heart. And it's shown me even more about myself, where to have those boundaries and where to say, you know what, I can have that open heart and be open to reconnection, but I'm not allowing this behavior, or I'm not allowing myself to be treated like this. So it's showing me a lot about myself. And at the same time, if that means opening up to somebody else, it's like, what does that even mean? What does that even look like? Like, I'm even like a little bit afraid of that. But at the same time, I've reached such a level inside of myself that I feel really excited and peaceful about whichever way my path goes. If it's with that old person, it has to be in a new energy. Has to be. Because I'm not the same person that I was. And I hope that he's not, because I want both of us to grow and for us to grow together. And if that's not possible, then I can also see another timeline spinning off where opening up to somebody else and excited about somebody else. And it's like it's been this process of letting go. It's been this process of release for myself, where it's like, I don't know which direction I'm going in, but that's where I'm just kind of here in the middle. Whichever way it goes, I'm just going this way. And I'm just allowing whatever wants to come in, but it needs to match where I am. It needs to feel right. And I'm trusting that it will feel right. But my ego will try to self-sabotage, right? Because of that fear, because of that past pain. And that's what ego does. Ego is not the enemy. Because otherwise you're just making an enemy out of yourself and you're just disconnecting from yourself. Your ego is not the enemy. Your ego is a part of yourself that tries to protect you. It's a part of yourself that is a survival mechanism. And you needed that in the past. But the more you go through your ascension journey, the more you recognize that you don't need it anymore. And so you learn to soothe, to self-soothe, to quiet that ego, and to say, I really appreciate you for trying to protect me, but I'm going to keep that open heart, and I'm going to trust in where I'm being led. Because I trust in myself now. I trust that I have the tools, the resources, the support. I can trust in myself and my intuition. And I'm not going to betray myself or my intuition anymore. I'm not going to abandon myself or my intuition anymore. And I'm not going to neglect myself or my intuition anymore. That's that energy that Divine Feminine is in. So first you need to believe that you are worthy. To recognize the integration of all sides of yourself. And that you are worthy of love in all aspects of yourself. You are worthy of love that allows you to see the shittiest parts of yourself. That you are valued even if you are not embodying your highest self in the moment. And there will be times that you don't embody your highest self in the moment. There will be times because you're human. And human does not demand perfection. Being human does not demand perfection. You are human, beautifully human. Allow yourself to be beautifully human. And the partner, and not just a romantic partner, but soul family, soul friends, brothers and sisters, those who are really aligned with you will love all aspects of you and appreciate and support all aspects of you, even when you are not being your best self. And not only that, but they will support and encourage you and love you back to yourself, back home to yourself. They will say to you, hey, I know you're not being your best self, so what do you need? How can I support you at this time? And they will love you and comfort you and encourage you back to your best and highest self. You are worthy in all aspects of yourself. Lightworker, you are in service. They're calling me to the soul path reading. This is a light aspect of yourself. This is who you are. It's like you just got lost. You just got lost maybe in the human aspect. You just got lost in maybe the ego, in your experiences, in the trauma. We all get a little bit lost along the way. We all do. All of us. We all get a little bit lost along our path. But that doesn't mean that we're not still this. It doesn't mean that we're not still love. It doesn't mean that we're not still light. It doesn't mean that we're not still valued and that we're not still worthy. Believe in yourself. There is a light that is beginning to shine along your path when it comes to the sacred union, when it comes to the sacred partnership, whether that is with an original counterpart or whether that is with somebody new. There's a light that's beginning to shine. You're beginning to see that within yourself, which is shining the light along the path. And what I'm actually seeing is somebody coming towards you. The path is the same. The path is the same. So what I'm seeing is along like a stretch of road, and you're walking along the road. You're shining your light. You're believing your light now. And I'm seeing somebody coming along the same path. It looks like their path. They're not aware that you're there, just like you're not aware that they're there. But it's the same path. And what happens is you both come together and there's a powerful imprint of life. an imprint of love. This is your sacred partner. This is your sacred union. Whether you've met them already or whether this is somebody new, this is your sacred partner that is coming along your path. And again, it's the same path. And I think that's the most beautiful metaphor. That's the most beautiful vision. It's the same path. You've always been walking the same path. You just didn't know it. You just weren't aware of it. And you needed to walk your path. That's why we always say, and I always say to my clients, focus on your path. Don't focus on what this person over here is doing. Don't focus on what's happening over here. Focus on your path. Focus on you, your joy, your life. What are you creating? That's where you don't neglect yourself. That's where you don't abandon yourself. You don't abandon your dreams. You don't abandon your passions. You don't abandon what you love, especially for the sake of others. You can have beautiful co-creation with others. That's what it's about. It's about co-creating with others. But you don't abandon yourself for the sake of that. You're walking your path, and your partner is walking theirs. Guess what? It ends up being this very same path, and you meet. And oh my gosh, how beautiful is that? That is the sacred union path. It's beautiful. All right, we are going to end this part of the reading here, and we're going to go on to a little bit deeper in the Patreon. So we'll be back with some more Sacred Union energy updates and mini readings and all sorts of general collective readings here on the channel. So make sure that you are subscribed and staying tuned. And I'm sending lots and lots of love to all of you.